How's it going, everybody? It's March 4th. We're going to be going over my day trades for the day. I made a earlier video today doing a pre-market, looking at the SPY. I thought it was an interesting spot. We're looking at it right here. This is on the 1 minute chart. So each one of these candlesticks is 1 minute. Um, so I was talking about I thought that we would sell off and test this 280s level, 280.50 level, and push up higher. Uh, Now, if we zoom in here, we can see that we didn't push off the 280s level at all. We just sold straight directly through it. And we actually put in the biggest sell off today, volume wise, in the past over a month of trading. So if we go over, if I bring the daily SPY chart over here, so now each one of these candlesticks is 1 day. And we pull up the volume. Let me zoom in here. So we pull up the volume chart. We can see that today's traded higher volume than any day since January 21st. And we had a big pullback down to the 276 level. Now, also, it's a very bearish sign. So there could easily be further downside, but one one note that we can take away to that adds to the thought of more upside potential is that this volume bar is only half selling volume and half buying volume. So buyers stepped in on the market at the end of the day, and it was bought back up. But based on the size of this drop, you can see this bar. This is today's action. It was we were sold all the way down off here to the 277. What is that? What is the low here? 276.80s, and we were bought all the way back up to the 279s. So yeah, we closed at 279.40. So we're not. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. That's all I'm gonna say about the SPY. Anyhow, so let's get into the trade. So I was watching a bunch of stocks. I was probably watching a little too many stocks today, but I kind of narrowed it down the end. I've talked about before in these past videos that I'm trying to be more selective with my stocks and I always want to have reasons to a news catalyst, or I want them to be moving on heavy volume. So I traded the first trade that I took on was on Facebook, and this didn't have the best news catalyst. What I really like, this is the daily time frame, and if we look here, Facebook is coming into it's in a wedge pattern. So we gapped up back here at the end of January, at the beginning of February, and the price action has been consolidating and moving down slowly and putting in a base here. We have support here at 160, but we have resistance up here at 166. And let me zoom in here on the 1 hour chart. So I liked Facebook. It was gapping up, so Facebook didn't have the best volume, or it didn't have the best news. They're suing China, but I wasn't even looking at the news. I traded Facebook simply because I'm trying to get really good at used to trading one stock. Um, so I know how the stock trades. And Facebook, I've just noticed it trades. It's always it moves a lot, and it's easy to short. It always puts in these big drops. If we can see, all these days have these big red candles, double tops back here, these big down days. It sells off really hard. The stock is just, and it puts in some decent patterns normally. So that's the main reason I was trading that, and I liked where it was on this bigger time frame. So that's enough rambling on that. I'm trying to make these videos. I know they're not the best at all, but I'm trying to make it better. So anyhow, my plan was to short up in this area, the 265.90s, and my first trade was here, and I said that I wanted to only trade in the first 15 minutes, so I took this trade in the first 10 minutes. I just couldn't help myself because it went right into my sell area, and I thought I was going to miss out, and I wouldn't have missed out on anything, but that's what I did. I lost 37 bucks on this trade. I shorted um, right here at 939 or 940 on one of these two candles, and my stop was 165.90 on 100 shares. So I stopped out here. Let me just show my trades here. So I shorted here 165.48. I set my stop up here at 165.90, but I stopped out early. I was risking 52 cents, but I stopped out for a $37 loss at 165.85. So, and then I got back in here. We pushed back up, got back in here. So, and same thing. I got shook out. I set my stop. I got in at 165.80, and I set my stop at previous high. So that was this candle back here, previous candle, which was 166. And I stopped out here early at 165.94 for a $14 loss. And then I took the trade again here. We pushed up and we bounced off this line. This line I just put here later as a stop loss level, but I shorted here again at 166.04, and I held. This is 100 shares, and I held until we got this reversal because we never even dropped really that much. So we came down to 165.50 and got bought up. So I was only up 100 or 50 bucks on that trade, but it reversed and I stopped out before it entered my entry price. I stopped out for $11 win on that trade. So I took one more trade on Facebook, actually two more trades. So let me zoom in here a bit. So after I stopped out on this candle after I'd shorted up here, and we never made it. I was waiting to make it down to this dotted line, which is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. We never did, and we got bought up, and there was a lot of buying. Normally Facebook would have dropped on this move right here, and we can see how strong the stock is moving up. Uh, A lot of people thought this was a buy. They had some, I guess, decently good news. They were selling or suing somebody, but uh, the news is always kind of priced into the stock, so you never use one thing to make up your mind about which direction you think it's going to go, and you can change it on a dime, really, and things change quick. So I stopped out here on this big buy bar, this big volume bar, and I actually went over and made trades, and I stopped watching Facebook at that point, and I went over. A better trade here would have been to wait and see it consolidate under this dotted line and add to my position here for this drop, but again, Facebook, I'm kind of glad I did what I did because we can see Facebook had a decently strong day. They ended up, but anyhow, enough rambling on that. At that point, I went and took another trade on EA Sports, which we'll go on in a second, but I want to finish on Facebook real quick. I tried to short again right here as we looked like we were rolling over, and um, we got this huge, massive, I got squeezed out. And as soon as this happened, it broke through broke up here, I just changed my mind. I'm like, all right, this stock is strong. I waited it for it to come back down to this level, and I thought it was going to continue up. I went so on this trade I lost $20, and then I decided to go long here 200 shares, and I lost $17 on this trade. So this was just bad trading. So I lost like over in total almost $100, about 80 or so, 80 to $90 on these Facebook trades. So this was my short position right here, and this is the other funny thing. I stopped watching the market. The market was rolling over here, and I went long. I completely stopped looking at the market. The stupidest thing ever. Let me just let me add Let me add a study here, guys. We can show you the market, what the market was doing, and I look at the Nasdaq when I compare to the Facebook, because Facebook is in Nasdaq. Look what the market was. It gapped up, and it was just slowly putting in these lower highs and lower lows, and I was shorting it, I was shorting it all through here, waiting for these rollovers for it to drop down, and it never did, and when it finally started dropping down is when I decided to go long on Facebook. This was a short. This is a short here. But Facebook, that being said, Facebook was strong and it did reverse on the day and close higher. So Facebook had a strong day. It wasn't the day to short it. But that being said, I could have made a good profit had I got in here and made this move like I was supposed to instead of being stupid. And the only other stock that I traded on the day, guys, was EA Sports. It was moving up on some news about how one of their video games was doing well, and I didn't do much research on the stock. The only thing that I found out about it was that while all their competitors' costs have been increasing, EA has been the only video game manufacturer that's been able to keep their costs down in recent years. And without getting into too many details, I decided I would want to go on the long side of EA today. We can see it sold off all the way down hard below this gold line, which is the previous day closing price, and it bounced off of here at this $96 level. This is where I went long here at 96.50 and 96.48, and I put my stop loss down here at this red dotted line at below $96. So I was risking about $50. As soon as I bought, this candle continued to push up higher, and we started to consolidate here, and the price started to squeeze between the volume weighted average price, this dotted white line, and the previous day closing price. And I decided to add another 50 shares here on a pullback. Let me just show my trades real quick to make this easier, make this faster since we're running out of time. I only got a minute or two left. So I added 50 shares here at 97.41, and I moved my stop loss to 96.90. So I locked in profit on that, and then we got this drop, and I was wishing that I had waited to add here, but I didn't want to take on any more risk at that point. And then we got this big move up here, and since I decided to take off 100 shares here because I thought that we were going to have a pretty decent pullback, and I knew I could add more once we got the pullback. So I took off 100 shares here at 98.35. I was up over $200 at this point, and then we got this pullback, and then I added another 50 here when it started to look like it based right here above the volume weighted average price. But I wasn't paying attention. Look at this red volume. There's a lot of selling volume that came in. You know, maybe I should have stopped out of everything right here. Maybe I shouldn't have added there in hindsight. But I stopped out of everything right here as quickly as I could. I locked in $194 on that trade, so that brought us back from the Facebook trades. So we were able to lock in $106 today. I only got 2 out of my 6 trades right, so that's only a 33% win ratio, but we were still able to come out green on the day. So that means my risk reward was there. So I'm decently happy. I could have done things a lot better, and